All right, I'm here in Cedar City, Utah. I've caught up with the founder of Zipkit Homes, Chris. I've got a few questions for him.
Okay.
First of all, how did you get into this? Because you got all sorts of stuff going on here. You got park models, you got modulars, you've got panelized homes. Where did it all start?
So I've been a contractor for a lot of my life, and just standard contractor. We're building homes and townhomes. And in 2008, when like the whole construction world got turned upside down, there was a big financial crisis, and so we went from building like 25 homes to like 2 in 2009. But we had a big warehouse that I was still paying for.
Okay.
So it was kind of out of desperation. I told my employees, I'm like, listen, we're either going to go under, we're going to go bankrupt, or we got to figure out something different because we're in big trouble now because this whole financial crisis. And so we said, okay, well, what if we try building something modular? So we tried that. Kind of worked, kind of did. What if we try doing some panelized stuff? So we tried that. So it's kind of like, it's almost like we were throwing spaghetti at a wall and we kind of would see what sticks.
Yeah.
And so we went through like years of that. And it was rugged, but then what kind of happened is, you know, the panelized works better in some situations. Modular works better in some situations. So it kind of depends. So we can do both. So we're kind of set up now where we can do both panelized and modular. The RVIA is kind of recent. We've only gotten into that in the past year just because we've had some customers asking for it. And I think it's a kind of an interesting part of the industry.
Okay.
So, but the panelized and the modular, why that's kind of cool is we've done in the past some houses where the house is modular, but the garage can be panelized, or part of the house can be panelized, part of it can be modular. So anyway, that's kind of how we got into it.
This is kind of a rare situation where I get to talk to somebody who's done full on-site construction and now is doing off-site construction. What are the biggest benefits that you see of building off-site and then taking to the job site?
So, I mean, we can build in a controlled environment. So my guys are working in a factory, outside of the weather. We have jigs and automated equipment. So I think the house is a better built house because it really never sees the sun, the rain, the wind, the mud. And so we're building, you know, we're in Utah where we could have, you know, it could snow 3 feet, but we're in our factory just doing our thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, theoretically, we can be a lot more efficient in that situation. So we can build, you know, a better home for less money in a factory. Now, kind of a caveat, it really depends on where we're going to send these homes. So what we found is some places, let's say we're going to send something to Vegas, we might not be that price competitive because they can hire really cheap framing companies and subcontractors. But if we're going to Sun Valley, Idaho, Jackson, Wyoming, Aspen, Colorado, Park City, I mean, we're going to be very competitive.
Right.
So it's almost like an arbitrage on, we're working in southern Utah and we're sending them to these really expensive areas where, you know, like we're taking advantage of that lower wage in our area.
That makes sense.
So for those type of areas, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think some people, you know, maybe they're watching from an area that has lower cost housing and they're like, well, this doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't make sense for every area.
That's right.
That's what people need to understand.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Kansas or Vegas or some of these big cities, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But if you're on the coast in California, if you're, you know, in Whistler, Canada, you know, wherever you are, coming to these resort areas where it's hard to find labor, modular can make a lot of sense, and panelized can make. Anything you can do off-site is going to save you money. Another thing in these, we've kind of morphed a little bit towards kind of these ski towns and resort areas.
Yeah.
And part of that reason is because there's such a short building season.
Right.
And so, I mean, you only have like 3 months where you don't have, you know, snow and rain and mud. And so if you have a short building season, the more, like, as they're pouring the foundation, we're already building that whole modular. The minute the foundation dries, we're dropping on the modular. So it's a lot faster.
That makes sense. So I should ask then, we're here in southern Utah, but where will you deliver to? Where's your territory, I guess you could call it?
So territory, I would say right now we're kind of the western United States.
Okay.
And so we've gone as far north as like Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So Mount Schweitzer, which is clear up almost at the Canadian border.
Yeah.
And we've gone as far south as Coronado Island in California.
Okay.
So I would say, you know, it's kind of the mountain states. We haven't done much. California is kind of hard because of the bureaucracy, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's like if we don't have to sell there, we don't, but we could in the future.
Yeah.
And same with Oregon and Washington. We haven't done much up there, but it's more because of the bureaucracy, and they make it difficult to do business up there.
Got it.
But, you know, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, those states we do.
So is the park model 399 square feet, is that your smallest unit?
We do have a smaller unit that we've done in the past. I don't know if it's on our website, that we call it like a hotel box.
Yeah.
And so it's a little studio unit. And I think it's about 320 square feet.
Got it.
And it's just imagine just like a little hotel unit in a box. And so we've done that. But other than that, it is, yeah.
And then for the modulars, how big can you go for the modular that's finished here and delivered?
So we've got a new floor plan that we're working on that's a little over 1,000 square feet in a single module.
Yeah.
And so it's a single module that is 16 feet wide by 66 feet long.
Okay.
That's about as big as we'll go. But in that 1,000 square feet, we've got 3 different floor plans. One is 3 little studio units.
Oh, cool.
One is 2 2-bedroom units.
Yeah.
And one is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath in a unit.
Awesome.
So we're kind of excited about that model. It's called the Dakota because it's also meant that you could stack them up. So that could be in duplex, 4-plex, 6-plex. So I think that's a good opportunity for like these resort areas.
Definitely.
You know, a big need where we've kind of done a lot of work, I would call it employee or workforce housing in these high-end ski areas. Because I mean, it's a big problem. You know, if you're in a ski resort, like where do the lift operators and the cooks and the waiters, where do they live? So that's a big challenge. So cool.
Okay, and then for the panelized homes, well, I know we're sitting in a model home. I don't know how big this is, but it's quite a bit bigger. What's the biggest you'll go on these, or is there a limit?
No, we've gone, I mean, the biggest we've gone is like 3,500 square feet. So a panelized home, obviously we have a lot more design flexibility. Because modular, it's a box that we got to ship down the road. Panelized, it's a bunch of panels that we stack on a truck and take out. And so the panelized stuff, like we've got some models that are like 3,500 square feet. So we can go big with panelized.
Cool. And I was kind of looking on your website, and I noticed, how are they finished? So you do the panels, you ship them out, and then what happens after that? Yeah,
so the panelized, we don't want to be a general contractor out of our area. It makes no sense for us to try to be general contractors and finish complete houses 500 miles away.
Right.
And so what we do is we'll do the panelized kit. So we'll bring all the wall panels, we'll put up the structure, we'll completely dry it in, meaning you get windows, exterior doors, ice and water shield, Tyvek or the zip system, so it's completely watertight. And we can do that on, you know, a 3,000 square foot home might take us a week, and it's done. You're completely dried in. And then we leave the rest for the general contractor, the local general contractor, or we have a lot of owner builders that use it because we'll do, first of all, we'll do all the design and engineering and everything so that they can get it through the building department, which is always a huge hurdle if you're an owner builder. So we take care of that, and then we do that structure, which is also, you know, scary if you're an owner builder.
For sure.
And then we also give the owner builders the information they need to contact subs to finish the inside. So we don't recommend that you paint the house yourself and install the flooring. We recommend that you contact subs, but you be the general contractor. And we've actually done that with quite a few owner builders, and it seems to work pretty good.
Cool. Now, out of the 3, so I know park models were just added, so maybe it's not going to be that. What's been the most popular?
I mean, it's kind of like 50-50 between modular and panelized.
Okay.
And they each kind of have their place. And so we've kind of gone between years. Like I think last year we did more modular than panelized.
Okay.
This year it's kind of shaping up a little bit different. And it was I think it was about a 60-40 split. So we were about 60% modular and 40% panelized last year. This year it's kind of setting up. I think it's going to be flipped. We've got a lot of panelized jobs coming up. So it's probably going to be 60% panelized, 40% modular. So we're okay with either one. Each has its advantages.
Very cool. Now, do we have time to go have a quick look in the factory?
Yeah, we can go look in real quick. So like I said, we're kind of in a transition phase right now, but basically this is where all the materials come in. We just brought these in this morning, so these come out of Boise, these chassis, and so we'll have a big overhead crane. We got to unstack them and get them ready. And by tomorrow, we'll start building more of our RVIA models on these chassis right here.
Got it,
But just kind of a quick walkthrough in the factory. So lumber comes in right here. We stack it up right here. This big orange thing right here, it's called a Hornet saw. And so we'll design everything in 3D. And then basically this cuts and it marks every single stud. So it makes it so it takes the brain work, the thought work out of framing our stuff, because it's just, like you can see some of these joists right here. Let's see if they're marked up. So it's marked up. It's marked up exactly where every single stud goes. a number, it's all numbered. So like we could take a guy that doesn't really know how to frame, and in a couple of days, he can be framing our stuff for us.
Cool.
And it comes together right and square and everything.
Nice.
So we also do panelized and modular. Right now, we've got one module that we just started a couple of days ago. This is the XL 470 model.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a 470 square foot with a loft, and they're framing this. You can see it's on these cribbing blocks because this house is going on a foundation. So these ones are on, these are the chassis, but this one's going on a foundation. So if we come around here, so our saw guy will cut everything, and then you can see it's all stacked up. So this could be a whole wall package right here. So everything's pre-cut for them so they can just start framing. So he'll load it up on this and just bring it over here and they'll start framing. So I can see this is the Winslow slope. So this is to start one of these. He's already got it pre-cut to go.
So how long, say the XL 470, what does that take start to finish?
Like the framing's probably 2 days, but start to finish about 30 days. We'll do it in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 4 weeks. So if you come in here, they're just framing on this one right now. So I don't know if you want to go in it, but.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so if we walk in this one, here's the deck. And then like I said, the difference in the one you filmed, this is 7 feet bigger. I think it's 6 or 7 feet bigger. Yeah. So this living room area is quite a bit bigger. This is the living room area here. You got all these windows here, and then this is the kitchen area kind of in this corner. And then there's the loft. There's a set of stairs that go up to the loft right here. Okay. And this is the one that you can go film. A bigger bathroom in here. And then in the loft too, there's this loft and then this higher loft. So that's so we can get regular 8-foot ceiling height. But then this is all storage area that you can put above the above the bathroom. And then here's the master bedroom in here. So
sweet.
So anyway, yeah, here's one just being framed. Like I said, this will probably get shipped out in 3 weeks.
Nice.
It's going locally here in Cedar City.
Perfect.
We have so right now we're not doing panelized jobs, we're working on the modulars. We have it's actually pushed outside right now, but we usually have a big framing table here with jigs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we're doing wall panels, then we have a big framing table here. We pull in a semi-truck down here, and then we've got this crane here. So we build the walls, we lift them, we set them on the truck, and then it just goes out as a panelized package.
That's cool.
So anyway, yeah, it's not that, I mean, we also have another factory up in Idaho Falls. This one's not that big. It's about 13,000 square feet, but we'll put out probably 40 to 50 modular homes in a year and another 30 panelized.
Holy.
Yeah. So in our little factory, I think we have about 20 employees that are working here. We can crank out quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So anyway, that's a quick tour.
Cool, thank you.
You bet.